Okay, it says I'm live. Hey, y'all. Hey, it's JJ Conway. I hope this works tonight. I'm not 100% sure it will because A, I'm driving on the back roads of Texas to our playoff game tonight, and B, or two, B, I don't know. I'm not, y'all who don't know about me, I had a really bad car accident. So I am very, very nervous about doing a broadcast while driving. So I am not going to be looking at you at all. And I know some people consider that rude, but the thing is, at the time that I would normally teach a class tonight, I'm going to be narrating the halftime show. So I'm not going to be available to teach tonight's class. But rather than not teach it, I thought, you know what? It's been a long day. I got a long drive. Talking helps keep me awake. Let's give it a shot, okay? And so we'll see how this works. If it's too distracting, I'll cut it off. But now that the sun has just gone down, it might actually get too dark in here to do a class. But tonight's class is basically a talk on how to make your first $1,000 with YouTube. There's a lot of folks out there with aspiring YouTube channels, and you might be like me, and you think you've got something to say, and you found out real quick that it's hard to get on a stage when nobody knows who you are, but it's hard for anybody to know who you are if you haven't gotten on enough stages. So YouTube is an excellent free tool that you can use to make your presence known. And like one of my mentors or early on told me, if they don't invite you to a stage, create your own stage. If they don't give you a radio show, create your own radio show. Now, back when he told me that, podcasts weren't as much of a thing, but they are today, and they're here to stay. So I'm excited to have this talk with you today, and I hope that you will find it to be encouraging and uplifting, and know that it's something that you can do, and also learn the conditions today under which you shouldn't do it. Okay? Because a YouTube channel is a lot like a podcast. Everybody wants to have a podcast. Can y'all hear? Okay, well, actually, never mind. I was about to ask if y'all can hear the Google instructions to this to this stadium, but I can't see the comments if you do respond. So I will pause when I hear Google say something, just because I'm figuring if I hear it, y'all are probably hearing it too. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit about. Oh, he almost ran over that dog. Oh, poor cutie. Okay, doggy, get out the road. Oh, oh, he's just a puppy. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't pick. Nope, nope, nope. Don't you get in front of me. Wait, is that my turn? Okay. Oh, poor cutie. Okay, all right. Oh, um, yeah, me and the little one, we want a dog. We had a cat, and then we found out as she got older that I was allergic to her. I didn't have as much problem with her when she was a kitty. So I don't know if there's something that changes in a cat as they get older. But when she was itty bitty, if I slept on the couch for whatever reason, she would snuggle up on my belly and sleep. And she would also snuggle up on my lap during prayer. And I just loved noon prayer with the kitty cat snuggled up in my lap as I sat for prayer. And you know, I hated to have to send her somewhere else, but she found a really good home with wonderful cat people who I just adore. So I'm very happy it worked out for her, even though I discovered that I couldn't have her. And I had a dog growing up, so hopefully that won't happen, but it won't be that dog. Hopefully he will be home by the time we come back. Anyway, sorry, y'all. We're going to be talking today about YouTube. I think what I was saying before the cute little stray dog came along was everybody wants to have a podcast and everybody wants to have a YouTube channel. It sounds so cool, right? Like, ooh, I'm a podcaster, or I'm a YouTuber, or I'm a this, I'm a that. But the reality is most of these channels aren't making much money, and some of them aren't making much money for long. And One of the things I did not know about a well done podcast and a well done YouTube channel is that neither one is just a matter of turning on your camera and talking. Now, that's okay when you're getting started and you want to test the concept. You want to see if people resonate with your energy, if they want to hear what you have to say, if you can package what you know people need in a way that lets them know they need it. Like, all of those things are great for just pulling out your camera, going live, and just getting that out there, that connection with the audience. And you can do that both on video format or audio format. However, a professional, money making, consistently year after year YouTube channel and or podcast both take some planning and some work. In fact, I remember meeting, because I go to FinCon, and there's also different podfests and things like that for content creators. FinCon's the one for financial content creators. And one of the things that I learned is it can take a week of working 8 to 10 hour days just to produce one quality minute of YouTube. And you think that shorts prank is just one little quick, easy prank, but it's not a little quick, easy prank. Sometimes it's like almost 1,000 takes to get it right. And that's just the stamina and the planning behind a YouTube channel. And so before somebody starts their own YouTube channel, I highly recommend you sit down and ask yourself, why do I want this channel? Why do I want a YouTube channel? Why do I want to put my videos out there? Why do I think people will want to watch? Ooh, y'all, that's a big one. That's a big one. When I got started with my YouTube channel, I knew I had a topic that people wanted because real estate investing was always a topic that people want. It always is a topic that people want. The thing is, I didn't necessarily know how to package my YouTube content in a way that people wanted to receive. I am not just the queen of cash flow, but I'm also the queen of telling you the guts and the innards of the program and selling you the steak when what I really need to sell you is the sizzle. I admit it. It is a old habit I am trying to break. I'm trying hard. And in the beginning, people don't pay for mindset. So we all know, if you're in the personal growth space, we all know that mindset is the number one thing you need to move forward. It's either your mindset, or if you're procrastinating, it's got overwhelmed. If you're overwhelmed, then maybe it's because people say you're not overwhelmed, you're under purposed. And in my life, when I'm not clear on making decisions according to my purpose, my values, and my goals, the water gets murky and I get procrastinating, I get overwhelmed, blah, blah, blah. We know these things intellectually, but people don't want to pay for those things intellectually because people don't think they got those problems. People think I fall prey to it too, y'all. I'm not using people like I'm not in the group. I am people. We all think we're leaders. We all think we're amazing. We all judge ourselves by our good intent, but then we judge everybody else by their faulty performance. And so that's just a part of human nature that I'm working on overcoming, and I'm sure you are too. So when I started my channel, I was basically teaching people what I would want on a YouTube channel. I didn't want all the sizzle. I didn't want all the special emotional effects. I just wanted, how do I change the doorknob? How do I talk to the contractor? Hold on. Okay. How do I talk to the contractors? How do I get this through and get that through? How do I refinish the hardwood floor? Like, that's the kind of content I wanted. I didn't want to wade through 10 minutes of you talking about how amazing you are. I just wanted the information. And So I was giving people a lot of information, but the problem with information is you can get information anywhere. And especially young people today, they can find information so fast. Information is not the key to success. Knowledge is no the key to power. You know, we used to say when I was growing up, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Well, knowledge isn't power anymore. You know what's really power is evaluated, analyzed, and applied knowledge. It's not just enough for me to know, do this step, this step, this step, and that step. I need to know from experience, either mine or others, all the nuances of each steps and where you do if you don't have the resources in your own hand for those steps, how you attract those resources into your life, or how you resonate with people who have the resources to do the work you need to do. Okay, so it's a different knowledge field today. Okay, and a lot of times when someone comes to me as a client and they say, I want to start a YouTube channel, I'm excited because y'all know, and if you didn't know, you're about to know. I love people to get started in business for free. I do. I love it. In fact, this was something I got it kind of hurt my soul a little bit. I got it from my CPA, Abarakoya, the wealthbuildingcpa.com. You can find her. She is an amazing CPA for real estate investors. She didn't ask me to say that. She's not paying me to say that. I just really, truly appreciate how she puts up with me all these years and takes good care of me all these years. So I'm just going to give her a plug every time I can. All right. But I remember when I had my plan, y'all, I had the plan all laid out. Ooh, it was a good plan. I was going to do this in this quarter, and I was going to do that in that quarter, and I was going to do this and this and this. I was going to do the LLCs. I was going to start a corporation. I was going to boom, 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 boom. I was going to make it happen. And you know what she said? She looked at it, she slid that paper back across the table, and she was like, before you spend the money to do all this stuff, why don't you try to make some money first? And so YouTube is a wonderful way to make some money, but unless you already have either a very sturdy and resilient and patient audience, not patient and sturdy and resilient, those are probably not the words I need. They are parts of the words I need, because you need an audience that loves you. You need an audience that's willing to go and ride the ups and downs with you. So that's what I mean by resilient. They're going to be there for you in thick and thin. That's what I mean by sturdy. And they're going to understand that when you're learning a new skill, sometimes you don't do things as perfectly as you want to do. That's what I mean by patient, okay? And so if you've got an audience that already loves you, you've got a media presence, you've got a social media presence, you've got an in-person presence, you are in a large networking group, you have some other way that you are connected to a good 500 to 1,000 people, you might be able to start making money with your YouTube channel that you just start after you hear this talk. You might be able to make good money with that in a week. But most of us don't already have that. If most of us already have that, we're not looking for a podcast on how to make your first $1,000 on YouTube. Okay, so if you're in the group where you already made your first $1,000 on YouTube, or you routinely make tens of thousands of dollars elsewhere, this will still help you apply those skills to YouTube. Okay, but if you are just getting started, which is who is most of the audience for the How to Make Your First 1,000 series, okay, if you are just getting started, then it might take a little while to shake the trees. Now, I keep going back to be very clear about what you're doing and why. What is it you're going to talk about on your YouTube channel, and why you're doing what you're doing? As you will know from most of my trainings, I am a very firm believer that just I want to make money is a very poor reason to do most things. Okay, I was rolling. I tell you what, if I wasn't preparing for my class, I would have took hers. I just came from the power networking experience in Atlanta, and I listened to Tiana Von Johnson, and she went through how she launched this purse, and she went through and launched something else, and she went through and launched. I mean, just boom to boom to boom to bomb to boom, just just talking about all the things she launched. And on one or two of them, she was like, I'm not in this business, but I made $1 million doing it because I wanted to show you it could be done. And I say, I'm the queen of doing stuff like that. Like, I get a client who says they can't make any money in their thing. I'll be like, oh, bet, I'll show you. And so, me, I'm like, well, I'm gonna make a quick $1,000 with this. She's like, I'm gonna show the world you can make $1 million with it, in a year. I said, oh, I gotta set my sights a little higher. But the thing is, you've got to be very clear on what you want to do. And aside from extenuating circumstances like that, just straight, I want to make money is usually not enough of a motivation to push you through when the times get tough. And even with a free YouTube channel where you're basically talking or interviewing somebody else, times get tough. Interviews, they cancel on you. Some of my most amazing people that I've interviewed, their sound quality, we didn't notice it during the recording, but after the fact, we couldn't use it. How would you like to pay $1,000 to interview somebody and then you can't use that footage because the sound is bad, and then you're too embarrassed to go back to them and say, the sound was bad. You know what? I've gotten past that now. I'm not that embarrassed anymore. But back in the day, I tell you what, I've got interviews from 2018, 19, 20 that it was like, yeah, we can't use this. And I never did tell them, but I finally got over myself and went ahead and rebooked them and interviewed them later, as an update. And so, but you got to understand, everything with a YouTube channel is just the same as like in a podcast, as same as any kind of business you run. Everything is not going to be unicorns and roses. Personally, though, I think YouTube is one of the most fun ways to make money. Okay, I'm not going to lie on that one. I think YouTube is one of the most fun ways to make money. But there are a lot of things that can really trip you up. And I'll share one more with you of why you really need to know what it is you stand for and what it is you want to talk about. Maybe in your case, it's not just that you want to talk about something, but you feel called to talk about something. One of the highest platforms, one of the highest views, money-makingest platforms I was on. I was killing it, y'all, and I was not on there very long. I was not on there very long, but I ended up offending some people because y'all, hold on. Okay, because my stance, y'all, I have a couple different taglines. But the one that I like the most often is that especially when it comes to real estate, my real estate tagline is cash is king, Jesus is Lord. And I had everybody and their brother come out the woodwork that night. I don't know what it was about that night that my faith bothered people, that it didn't bother them in the previous 6 months. But that night, all the people who serve other gods came out to play, and they came out to take down the woman of God. And maybe a week or so later, I was taken off of that channel. And they invited me to come back, and I made my little demo video, and I thought I should probably take out the part about Jesus, cash is king, but Jesus is Lord. But I wasn't going to do that. You know why I wasn't going to do that? Because my calling isn't just to everybody. It is to everybody, and I love everybody, and I'm a nonpartisan. I'm very tolerant. I'm very open-minded about a lot of things compared to most people who profess holiness and walk according to the Bible, okay? I love everybody because I believe the Lord. I believe the Lord loves everybody, and He wants everybody to succeed, and He wants everybody to be with Him in heaven. And if you are on that path of seeking and pursuing righteousness, even I really do believe, and it's going to offend some people. That's okay. I don't mind. But I really do believe that if you are diligent, this is a scripture in Hebrews, if you are diligently seeking the Lord, whatever you know the Lord to be, then He is going to reward you. And so I don't have a problem with people of other faiths coming onto my channel, because if you are diligently seeking the Lord, he will be found of you. And you may not know that he's a Lord. I didn't even know. I'll be honest with you. I grew up Christian. Okay, this is not a preaching time, but I'm on it now. Ooh, y'all. I grew up Christian and didn't even know that the God I was serving wasn't the true and the living God. Y'all, that's a whole word right there. We will talk about that in Bible study sometime. But you can be naming the name of Jesus, but even the demons named the name of Jesus. Naming the name of Jesus does not mean you are saved. All right. Okay. So anyway, when I got taken off that channel, and I still have great admiration for the people behind the channel. I understand they're running a business and they've got to cater to the greater audience that they serve, and their audience that they serve is not the same as the audience I serve. There's an overlap, but we serve two different audiences. And so I'm not mad, I'm not bitter, I'm not petty, but I tell you what, I sure liked getting all those views. I sure do miss getting all those views. I miss being able to sell those classes. And so, but I'm clear on who I am. I'm, I'm clear on who I am, and I'm clear on whose I am. And so you need to know that in the YouTube space, because what happens to a lot of us is, oh, I did this podcast and I mentioned this and all these people liked this. So you go chase after this. And then in the next one, the next YouTube, you mention that. And then everybody goes after that. And then you think, oh, I'm going to go after that. And by the time you finish, you have spent all your time and diluted your brand to such an extent that you don't even really know who you are anymore. And the thing about YouTube that's going to be even more important in the day of AI is that you have a presence that's you, that is uniquely you, that is a focus of you, that is somebody that they cannot duplicate in the marketplace. Everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own calling. Everybody has their own personality. There's only one you. And even if you are an identical twin, you might have certain situations and they might have certain other situations. Even if you were an identical twin, you would still have your own story. And that's what makes you, you. And that's what's going to make you the money on YouTube. Okay, so we figure out who we are. We get very clear on that. We become very strong in that. We become very embedded in that, so that no matter what happens, whoever has us on our stage or doesn't, that we are able to move forward. You know, I was on another stage a couple times, and these people had millions and millions of followers. And I loved being on that stage, but they did not like me. And the funny part about it is, I just happened to be vocal. They would be like, well, we were going to have a guest, but we don't have any submissions this week. And I would be like, hey, can you give me some feedback on what was wrong with videos? And then they would be like, oh, yeah, we'll look for it. It must have gone into spam. And the next thing you know, they broadcast it. And I liked that, but I don't like working with people who don't want to work with me. I want to go where I'm celebrated, not just tolerated. Go where you're celebrated, not tolerated, all right? And so getting very clear on your purpose, your vision, your goals, that will help you in your quest to have a healthy YouTube channel that speaks deeply to the people that you are called to serve. My energy resonates with the people that I'm called to serve, whether that other person likes it or that other person likes it or this other person likes it. And now, because of YouTube being all over the world, not in all countries, but in most countries, you can take your message globally. So if you have 5 people in your backyard don't want to hear your message, as long as you are really called and equipped to do it, then you go out and do it, because somebody else will. Okay, let me check my map real quick. Okay, I got 47 more miles on this road. 47 more miles? Really? After all that? All that back roads? Yeah, okay. We're going to get there right before kickoff. We're not going to make it in time for the national anthem. Hopefully we won't. Hopefully we'll be able to get in with the band. Okay. All right.
Can I watch after you're done with that?
Sure. Okay, so the first step to making your first $1,000 with YouTube is to understand why you want to have a YouTube channel, what you stand for, what you will or will not tolerate. You want to have all that mapped out beforehand. And if you are a person of faith, I encourage you to pray over that thing. I encourage you to pray over it. I encourage you to lay it out before the cross and just see if this is the way that the Lord has you to go. You might find, and this was something that hurt my heart early on when podcasts first started being a thing and YouTube first started being a thing, that to make money quickly, the best route for me wasn't to start my own podcast, and it wasn't for me to start my own YouTube channel, but it was for me to leverage other people's podcasts and leverage other people's YouTube channel. Okay? So what I mean by that is, if you are about to launch a book and you think, oh, I'll build a podcast so I can connect with an audience and launch my book. Well, doing a podcast on your book or on related topics might be a wonderful idea. However, with the spin up and ramp up time it takes to grow an audience on YouTube, it may be better for you to find somebody else who is aligned in purpose and values, maybe not exact duplicates, but aligned in purpose and values, and get on their YouTube channel. So, for example, if you have a book about women being empowered, get on my YouTube channel. Let me interview you. If you have a book on women pulling themselves up financially, get on my YouTube channel. If you have a book about dating, or if you have a book about how to fix cars, that's not my YouTube channel, but you can find somebody else who will let you be on their YouTube channel. And what you are effectively doing is borrowing their audience. You are leveraging the audience that they have built. You are leveraging the work that they have already put in to grow that channel to the point where it can help advertise your book, okay? So you want to evaluate what is it you really want to accomplish with a YouTube channel. You want to really evaluate what it is that you stand for. And then the third part is evaluate whether or not your goals, as part of that purpose, vision, goals, you want to evaluate whether or not those goals would actually be served. Try this. Whether those go. Ooh, I don't think that's helpful. Is that better? I don't know if that's any better. No, let me try. I can't really see it. I'm gonna go off your. I'm gonna go off your judgment there. Let me try this one. That might be a. Is that a little better? Okay.
Not much, but a little.
All right, I'm going to summarize that because I don't know where I got distracted by the fact that I'm sitting in darkness. I saw a dark blob on the screen. Okay, so the first step in making your first $1,000 on YouTube is a process of discovery. You're going to evaluate what it is you want to accomplish with YouTube. You're going to want to evaluate your value, your purpose, your values, your goals. When you evaluate your purpose, your values, your goals in a court, and you also evaluate what it is you want to do with a YouTube channel, that will help you decide whether or not you need your own YouTube channel or you would be better off to leverage somebody else's. Okay, that's the first side. Now, once you have passed those gates, you have said to yourself, my goal that I want to accomplish in my purpose, vision, and goals is well suited to a YouTube channel. And you have evaluated that it is better for you to start your own YouTube channel rather than leverage somebody else's blood, sweat, and tears and somebody else's audience. Then we move forward to the mechanics of starting a YouTube channel. At this point, I'm going to take a quick break so I can take a sip of my Thai tea and my little one can open up his noisy wrapper quickly before I make the next discussion. Oh, that's yummy. All right, are you done with your wrapper?
No.
Hurry it up.
There yet?
Hurry it up. We have another 45 minutes. Hurry it up.
Which wrapper?
Whatever you were making noise with. Whatever you were making noise with. Okay.
Are we there yet?
Gabriel, that is not. Oh, stop. That's not funny. All right. That's not funny. Not especially not while I'm doing a broadcast. Okay, I'm already nervous enough doing a broadcast because I'm driving and talking. Although I drive and talk all the time. Okay, don't do stuff like that. That's not cool. You understand? All right. Okay, so now the next step is how do you actually make money with YouTube? You know what the next step would probably be? This is an aberration of me driving and not having my slides. Okay, the next step would honestly be once you've decided yes, YouTube is where you need to go in the future. The next step would probably be let's talk about the mechanics of getting on YouTube. Okay, YouTube is connected to Gmail and a Google account. So every Google account, you can have like up to 50 different YouTube channels, okay? I have several YouTube channels. My son has several YouTube channels. We just repurposed one of his YouTube channels for his younger brother. And so you can go out there and YouTube and Ultra Cubby, and you can subscribe to Ultra Cubby, and you can see some of his fun videos. He's always been on the channel. It's just it was led by his brother, not him. So now we're switching that around, okay? But if you have a Google account, Gmail or any of those other things, if you have a Google account, you automatically get, what are you doing, buddy? You know that white truck back there. Like, where did they think they were going? I was already in this guy's blinds. Oh, wow.
What?
They're bullying these people. You know what? I'm just going to slow down. I'm going to let him pass me. No. You are not getting me in an accident today. And see, now he's all up on their tail. Ugh. You know, it is not that serious, okay? Okay? The nearest hospital is back that way. All right. Anyway, you never know what somebody's going through. But they look like, I could have sworn I saw a Stephenville sticker on there. And if it is a Stephenville sticker, I can't see it anymore because they're gone now. You rushing all this rush to get to the football game, you know, that's really not a good reason to cause an accident. All right, anyway. I don't even know where I was. Okay, we were talking about having a Google account. If you have a Google account, you can automatically have a YouTube channel. In fact, if you go in your Google, you log into your Gmail or your browser. Next to your picture is going to be, I think they call it a hamburger menu, but it's like 9 dots, okay? It's got your calendar. It's got all these other different Google Suite functions, okay? And one of those is YouTube. Depending on how you have it set up, yours may not be automatically set up that way. You may have to expand it. But if you see your picture in your browser and then you go to YouTube, you have a channel, whether you know it or not. You've got one, okay? And so it probably, if you didn't know you had one, it probably has no subscribers and no videos, no profile picture or no nothing, because you never set it up because you didn't know you had it. But now you do. If you want a YouTube channel, you got to set up a Google account. You can do that online. You do need to tie your Google account. They're getting more and more strict with identities and stuff. You are going to have to do some more effort to like tie it to a working phone number and a non-Google email as the backup to the email. So I have a non-Google email backup to my main Google email, and then my main Google email is backup to all the other things. And every Gmail account can have like up, I think it's 50. Don't quote me on that, but it's something like 50 or 60, okay? It's a lot. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to use them all in my lifetime. You know, if I establish one new channel a year, that'll take me to the end of my serviceable life. Okay, and so you create the account, and they are doing something new. It used to be back in the day when you created your YouTube channel, you could not have a custom URL unless you had at least 100 subscribers. And so people say, well, did you ever buy subscribers? I'm like, yes, I did. I admit it. I bought 100 subscribers for me and 100 subscribers for my son so we could have our custom YouTube handles back in whenever I started this in like 2013 or 2014. Okay, and actually, I didn't even do it then. I think it was when I became a business in 2000. I think it was in 2016 or something like that. But anyway, you now you can set Google at symbol your handle, which is different from your channel URL. And so that's a I think you don't need the minimums anymore, but you may still check on that. No, I had 10,000 subscribers, but I guess a bunch of them fell away over time. If you don't keep filling the pipeline, you go to a conference and you get like 500 more subscribers, and then over time people unsubscribe or they fall away or they close their accounts or whatever. You have attrition, so you kind of have to keep the pipelines coming in to keep growing your channel. But you can go in there and do that. That's all free to do. You can do that on your computer. You can do that on your phone. There are some things you can only edit on your phone, and there are some things you can only edit on your computer. Okay. So then the next thing is, how do I make a video? The easiest way to make a video is just to pull out your phone and make one. And if you go out there, all my early ones are like that. They might have like 10 views, because I'm not big enough yet for people to want to go all the way back. But one of my most consistently highest performing YouTube videos from 2016, y'all, is still in my top 3 every month of videos that people come and watch. Is totally something I just documented because I needed to know how to do it, and it took me forever to figure out how to do it. So I wanted to make a video on how to do it so I didn't forget how to do it. I forget things, especially after the car accident, but this was even before the car accident. I knew for as long as it took me to figure out how to do this, I didn't want to have to forget that 5 years later, go back and do that research again. Okay. So things like how to turn off the water, how to winterize your sprinkler system and stuff, like all those videos, that was just me documenting for me. And then I did a bottle review on the different breastfeeding bottles the bottles that I used while I was breastfeeding, again because I was so overwhelmed taking care of a baby while my husband was in another state and I did have another child. I was so overwhelmed that I would go to the store and I would forget, okay, which bottle did I need? When you're nursing, for those of you who don't know, when you are nursing, you are like you are basically waking up every 2 hours to feed the child. Okay. And so, sometimes you can kind of get away with just kind of laying the child next to you. But if you are a tosser and a turner, oh, I shouldn't have used that word because in some countries it means something else. Don't look it up. But if you are somebody who moves around quite a lot in your sleep, you don't want to smush the baby, And so you can get a little loopy and you can forget that, oh, did I try this bottle yet? No, I haven't tried that bottle yet. Okay. All right. And so I made the video just for my own purposes. And that's another one. It's not always in the top 10, but it's often in the top 10. Okay. So you could pull out your phone and you can start making videos of importance to you. Now, the best thing to do, y'all, is to make videos about whatever your purpose, vision, and goals are. So if you are in business, why are you in business? Who do you serve? How do you help them? I help hardworking women and a few good men dump debt, build wealth, and leave a legacy. Just about every video on my channel, from whenever I came up with that, I worked with Jerry Foster, branding expert, to develop that logo, that slogan. From whenever we did that work together, everything on my channel is aligned with that mission statement. Okay, what is my overarching personal JJ Conway life mission, my life purpose, my life? What I was created here to do is to equip God's people to be free to serve and free to love, free to give. Financial planning is just one aspect of that equipping. Spiritual equipping, freedom in, a lot of us have a lot of hurt. We got a lot of church hurt. We got a whole lot of other hurts. So I have my ministry YouTube. I have my financial Ladies of Wealth YouTube. I have my Juneteenth YouTube. I've got some other things that I'm working on that I haven't really. They're more like a faceless kind of YouTube. But they are all aligned with my purpose, my vision, my goals. Okay, and so just start filming videos. Well, I don't know what I'm going to say. Okay, if I was to sit down with you, I'm going to give you some mini coaching. All right, do some mini power coaching here in the next 5 minutes. Okay, you come to me, JJ, I want to start a YouTube channel, and we're just going to pick something. I am completely making something up so that you will understand this applies to everyone. Okay, I am going to say your mission in life, your purpose, vision, and goals is to make sure every family in America has tried crab rangoons. These crab rangoons are from Pattaya Thai in Stephenville. They are amazing. I'm really irritated that my belly got full after only a couple because there's still more in here I want to eat. Okay? I am making this up. There is not one client on the face of this earth who has ever come to me and said their mission in life is to make sure every family in America tries some crab rangoons, okay? I am making it up so that you can see that the process works for everyone, okay? And so I might ask you, why should people try crab rangoons? And you might say, because they are a healthier alternative to some of the junk that we like to eat. And I might say, well, do you really think they're healthy? Because crab rangoons are fried. And you might say, yes, they are fried, but compared to candy bars, they're going to have much more nutrients and much less chemicals, okay? Right there, we got your first 3 videos. One, why I think every household in America should try crab rangoons. 2, debunking the myth that crab rangoons are unhealthy. Or you could do debunking the myth that fried foods are automatically unhealthiest thing you can eat. And then you can go into all of the goodness that comes from eating crab rangoons. Then you can talk even more stuff. Because look, I'm just making this up on the fly, y'all. It is not perfectly polished because I'm making it up, all right? But I'm just making this up. So you could go into how when you buy crab rangoons from your local Thai place or your local Japanese place or your local Chinese place or whoever it is that's selling crab rangoons, you're supporting local businesses. Now, if my YouTube channel is geared locally, that's much more important than if my YouTube channel is geared globally, but it still might be an important point. That's 4 videos. We've got 4 videos now on why every family in America should try crab rangoons, okay? Also, the crab industry has taken a hit since COVID. I don't know that that's true. I am making it up, but they offer a wonderful service, and if we want these fishers, I don't know what you call crab fishermen, but if we want these crab harvesters to be around in another 5 years when the economy gets better, we should support them now instead of supporting these multi-mega million-dollar companies that use fake chemicals and artificial flavorings to make us think that their chocolate is actually chocolate when it's not, because it's not. Okay, so that's 5 videos, okay? And so you can step through what is it that makes you so passionate about what you want to do? And boom, right there, making something up out of thin air. I just gave you 5 videos about crab rangoons and why every American family needs to eat some crab rangoons. You can do this. You can absolutely do this. And if you and I were sitting down for a coaching session, we would sit down and talk for a little bit. I would ask you some questions. And if you would allow me to put the video on, and because sometimes, sometimes we all rolling. Look, sometimes I do too. I admit it. I sometimes I roll into a coaching session, no makeup, my hair ain't did. I stuffed it under a hat. Look, you don't put your camera on, I ain't mad at you because I don't want to have mine on either. And sometimes when I'm having a rough looking day and everybody's got their camera off, I'm like, click. Now, if we're coaching one-on-one, I'm trying to help you move through a sticky situation, I'm gonna need your camera on because I need to know if my words are resonating or not, okay? But if we're doing group coaching or we're fleshing out business ideas like that, sometimes we just roll up in there. But if you allow me to have your video on, if you come camera ready, by the time we're done with that coaching session, now you've got 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 30-second video snippets
clip them, you make them into portrait, you put them on your YouTube as shorts, and all of a sudden now you have a YouTube channel. It's that easy. It's actually not that easy. You really need to sit down with somebody like me who's good at interviewing. Okay, I'm not good at a whole lot of things, but one thing I am really good at is I'm really good at talking to somebody about their business, about their book, about their organization, their nonprofit, their dreams, and really kind of teasing out of them what it is that they are passionate about and why others should be passionate about it too. So you need to sit down with somebody like me who can draw that out of you, and then you will have the foundation for your YouTube channel. Oh, y'all, my. Now, let's talk a little bit about how you actually make money on YouTube. The one that everybody thinks about is YouTube monetization. YouTube monetization is not like it was when I first started my YouTube channel. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was making about $100 a month off of 85 subscribers and some really poorly done videos. And then they changed the rules. And they made it so that you had to have at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Okay, 4,000 watch hours is pretty hard to do unless you've got some quality content. And a lot of people who get that quickly are using paid methods to do so. Now, personally, I think organic traffic is the best, but I also know that sometimes people want to hit a threshold, and I also know that you can pay people to make your video go viral. If you want to get 1 million views on something, you can pay people to do that. I know the people you can pay. You can pay them. They will run the keywords and they will do it. But you want to get somebody who's doing it. If you're not going to do it organically, and by organically I mean you told people about it, you posted your video places. If you're going to use somebody to help you build traffic, then have them go to the Google keywords. Personally, unless you got something that's already fire, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that because you don't know what's going to stick. You don't know what's going to go, what people are going to like. And I'm a big fan of testing the concept before you spend too much money on the concept, okay? And so monetizing on YouTube is kind of like an after the fact thing. Monetizing on YouTube probably comes at the end of the monetization list, or at least in the middle of the monetization list. Because before you get to the point where YouTube will pay you, you will have already gotten to the point where you are advertising your own books, your own courses, your own coaching programs. You're advertising that stuff in the middle of your podcast or your YouTube channel. Okay, that's the first way a lot of people make money on YouTube, is they are advertising their other stuff, and then people are going from their YouTube and buying the other stuff. That's how most people make their first $1,000 on YouTube. Now, some people make significant money on YouTube by charging folks to be guests and charging for product placement. Because my channel admittedly is hit or miss depending on my injuries and how I feel that day, I am not at a point where I charge people for product placement. Okay, so if you have ever thought about having me wear your t-shirt in one of my podcasts or YouTubes, if you've ever thought about having me review your book, if you've ever thought about having me go through one of your classes and talk about your class in my channel, I actually don't charge you for that right now. Once we get things back to where it was, where I used to charge people, then I'll go back to charging people. But right now, I'm not in that space. And you and I can make an interview today, and it might be a couple months before it gets published. So since I can't guarantee a date and all that stuff right now, I don't even charge like that. What I do ask, though, is that you provide me the goods. Don't you ask me to do a book review and I gotta buy your $40, $50 book. Okay? Don't you do that to me now. You send me the book. Don't ask me to buy your $100 brand sweatshirt that doesn't look good on me and I'm never going to wear it again. Ooh, that came out the wrong way, but you know it's true. Don't ask me to buy something. Send it to me. And here's what happens when people send me their brand sweatshirt. Because they're coming out of pocket for it, they make sure I get the one that looks good. They send me their book. Now they have a vested interest in actually fulfilling the terms of the interview. Okay? So, a lot of this is also dependent on whether or not you have the purchase for that. I know people who started their YouTube channel and immediately charged $100, $200, $500 to be on the YouTube channel. Well, you know what? When I started my YouTube channel, didn't nobody know me. I wasn't going to charge that much. My first couple of videos, they maybe had 100 views every time. Now we get a couple hundred views. And some of our conference gets tens of thousands of views, but a lot of people get tired of it and go out of business too, because they spent so much money building all the collateral and paying for the professional inserts and videos, and they made themselves out to be this big timey person. And then I look at your Facebook that you're porting your YouTube to, and you got like one person liking it. 2 people hearting it, 1 comment, and that's from your mama. And I'm not going to comment from your mama, but what I am saying is, let's not put the cart before the horse. Okay, if we want to make money on YouTube, usually slow and steady wins the race. Okay, and so I think I covered it, but just to be sure, I want to summarize. Okay, the quickest ways of monetizing YouTube, making money on YouTube, first of all, is to not even have your own channel. It's to go on other people's channels and sell your stuff. And I have, if you join me for coaching on this, I have lists of places where you can go and get on people's YouTube channels without having to pay. 2 of my favorites have become paid services now, and they're still good. But if you're just getting started, you don't want to pay to be on somebody's YouTube and you don't know that it's actually going to benefit you. Well, why would wait, no. I'll talk about that in a minute. I was about to go on a different tangent. So the first way is just to be on other people's stuff. Okay, point blank. The second way is to sell your own books, products. Sell your own books, courses, products, services within your own YouTube channel as if they were your own commercials. Okay. The third way is to charge people for guests, charge people for product placement, charge people to advertise. I have had people in the past pay to advertise, but again, because I'm so inconsistent right now, I really don't do much advertising. And if I've used your product and I love it, then I usually just say so right now. But if you have a product that you would like to send me an advertisement for, I'm very open to that right now in this season. But keep in mind that dispensation, once I get this doctorate done, y'all, we going back to business as usual. Okay? Okay. All right. So that's, and then of course the next way, the ultimate way, is to monetize through YouTube. Now, when you monetize through YouTube, here are the requirements you got to have. You got to have at least 1,000 subscribers, okay? And then you've got to have at least 4,000 watch hours of regular videos, or 10 million watch views of legitimate shorts. What do I mean by legitimate shorts? What I mean is it's got to be original content. Now, YouTube is funny. I got my my monetization on a 6-month it's not jail, but it's like a punishment. Then it was on punishment because I bought some branded videos from a creator. I put them on the Juneteenth, and then I had some branded for the Ladies of Wealth, and I put some on Ladies of Wealth. And when I did that, Juneteenth is not monetized, so it didn't flag anything on Juneteenth. But Ladies of Wealth is monetized, so Ladies of Wealth got a strike because YouTube said I did not add enough originality to the content. So in other words, if you wonder why people are doing all these weird reaction videos where they're pasting their face over somebody else's video and they're making funny faces, which personally I don't like watching those because you're blocking my view of what I actually would rather see. And I don't like those, but that's what YouTube is respecting right now. So, maybe I gotta change it up a little bit. But I did not realize that you cannot turn the monetization off for shorts. You can turn monetization off for normal videos. So like if I post a video of my son singing something in his school play, and that song is a copyrighted song that they license to perform it in that play, but I don't have license to use it on my YouTube channel, I can turn the monetization off. Now they still may reach out and say, hey, that's my content, but generally speaking, most owners of songs and things like that, if you've got the monetization off, they're not going to hit you with the copyright strike. They're just going to take over your monetization rights for that content. So if he's singing their song, then during the point of the video where he's singing their song, they get any royalties that would be made off of the ads that play before and after him singing their song. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? So with YouTube, when they say monetize, what they are talking about is inserting the ads. You get money for the ads. And every time somebody watches an ad more than a certain amount of seconds, every time people watch enough ads, even if they skip them as soon as they can, but more so if they watch the ads a little bit longer, if they have the mid-roll ads, they have ads at the beginning and the end. Sometimes you can customize where they put the ads, sometimes you can't, okay? But that's what YouTube is paying you for. They are paying you for getting people to watch ads because your content is so amazing. So amazing, okay? And so that's what YouTube is paying you for. But that is not the only way to make money on YouTube. And generally speaking, for your first $1,000, it's not going to be the way that you make money off of YouTube. Unless you have a big enough social following already that you can launch your channel, get those subscribers, and get those watch hours. And y'all, I've got colleagues who've got channels in the $1 million subscribers and in the hundreds, 400,000, 500,000 subscribers. And it makes me feel a little bit better because like you got 1 million subscribers, but still you only get like 1,000 watch each video. So I got almost 10,000 subscribers. I had 10,000, but I guess some fell away. I gotta work to get them back again. But only maybe 300 or 400 watch each video. So I feel like that's fairly proportional. Okay. So that's how you can monetize with YouTube. Now, there are some things that I want to make sure I acknowledge to you up front. Okay, YouTube is really cracking down on content in. I've been able to fix it, but I have music that I legitimately bought through a PR service that produced my videos and all my content. Everything had, not all my content, but they produced some marketing videos for me. They produced some other content for me. All of it has the same music, and that's the music I used to use for my podcast. I bought that package in 2019 when we started the podcast. Okay? Some bozo took that music, created their own edit of that music, and has been slamming people on YouTube who use that or similar music because it was part of a package deal in an organization I'm in. A lot of us used the same music. I used it my way, they used it their way, but there were 4 different musics that were licensed. And this, what this guy did was he went and made his own song in 2021 and then tried to pass it off as a copyright strike on YouTube for us using the music. And I was like, well, here are my receipts. I bought this access back in 2019. Now, here's what you need to know if you buy license to music today. See, back in 2019, when you got the license, it was lifetime and in perpetuity. But today, most licenses that you can go out to these subscription websites and download the music, most of those licenses are only as long as you have an active subscription to the service. So be aware of that and make sure that whatever you get for your channel, if you're going to have intro and outro music, that it is music you can use in perpetuity. Otherwise, you got to change it up every time you get tired of paying people money. And I don't know about you, but my experience has been, you start off with something that's free or something that's low cost, and 5 years later, it's like $20,000 a month. That's a little bit of hyperbole there, okay? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off the phone now because I've gotten off the highway and I'm concerned about traffic. I hope that's been helpful to you, and I hope it's something y'all can use. Y'all take care and be blessed.